today's I will talk the summary for reproduction in plants. Reproduction means production of young one like their parents are commonly called as reproduction. There are two main modes of reproduction. First one is asexual and second one is sexual. Asexual reproduction means there is no development of gametes and their union to produce young ones. This phenomenon are commonly called as asexual reproduction. In plants, it is also called as vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction means production of young one like their parents by involving vegetative organs like roots, stem and leaves. That is called as vegetative reproduction. That is one of the modes of reproduction that is called as asexual or vegetative reproduction. Asexual means there is no development of gametes to produce young ones. Vegetative means the development of young one like their parents by involving vegetative organs like roots, stem and leaves. That is called as vegetative reproduction. These vegetative reproduction are of two main types. First one is by natural method and second one is by artificial method. Naturally, the plant parts like roots, stem and leaves, they will propagate and it will develop young one like their parents. That is called as natural method of vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Here, man-made activities do not participate, do not involve. For the propagation of new plantlets, by involving vegetative organs like roots, stem and leaves, that is called as a natural method of vegetative reproduction. It includes few sub-methods like tuberous root. Example for this tuberous root, that is sweet potato. Second one is stem tuber. Example potato. Third one is runners. Example cynodon grass. And last one is leaf. Example bryophyllum. There are four sub-methods by this natural method of vegetative propagation. First one is tuberous root, second one is stem tuber, third one is runners and last one is leaf. Tuberous root, it is underground modification of adventitious root, in particularly in sweet potato contain adventitious root. These adventitious root get modified due to food storage purpose and it bears a swollen turgid structure that is called as tuberous root. In this root contain adventitious bud at outer margin. These adventitious buds become dormant during suitable condition or during favorable season and it will develop young one like their parents. Due to presence of adventitious buds at the outer margin of these tuberous root, they will propagate and it will develop young one like their parents. That is called as tuberous root. Example sweet potato. Tuberous root, it is an exceptional root because root lack of adventitious buds as well as nodes, internodes, but it is a specially modified route. Specially modification should be taken due to food storage purpose as well as due to vegetative propagation purpose. The root get modified and it bears a tuberous like structure. This kind of root are commonly called as tuberous root. These root containing adventitious buds become dormant during suitable condition or favorable season, and it will develop young one like their parents naturally. So it is included in natural method of vegetative propagation. Okay, then second one is stem tuber. It is an underground modification of stem. Stem should be modified and it bears a tuberous like structure. Stem should be modified. Underground modification of stem should be taken due to extra food storage purpose, and it bears a swollen, terseed, rounded structure that is called as tuberous structure of stem, and these phenomena are commonly called as stem tuber. These stem tuber contain prominent eyes. Eyes, it is a sporulated organ. These eyes become dormant during suitable condition or favorable season, and they will develop young one like their parents, that is called as stem tuber. Example, potato. Potato contain prominent eyes. These eyes, it is a sporulated organ. These sporulated organ, they having ability to develop the young one like their parents naturally. So it is included in natural method of vegetative propagation. Third one is runners. Runner means it is a sub-aerial modification of stem. Stem should be modified in such a way that few parts, that is nodal region, are placed inside the soil and internodal region are present above surface of soil. This kind of modification are commonly called as sub-aerial modification. These stem, sub-aerial modified stem grows horizontal surface through the soil, and they are spread very rapidly, very tremendously. So it is commonly called as runners, because the sub-aerial modified stem of these cynodon grass or doob grass, they are grows very rapidly, very tremendously. That's why it is commonly called as runners. These runner containing or the stem containing nodes, they having ability to develop the young one like their parents during suitable condition, during favorable season. These nodes of the sub-aerial modified stem, it will propagate and they will develop young one like their parents. This phenomenon are commonly called as runners. Due to natural condition, naturally the plant parts, that is sub-aerial modified stem containing nodes, become sporulated and it will develop young one like their parents, that is called as runners. Then leaf of bryophyllum. These bryophyllum or Bignonia plant containing leaves, they having ability to develop the young one like their parents, because the outer margin of leaf of bryophyllum, they contain prominent adventitious buds do not found. Here adventitious buds are present at the outer margin of this leaf of bryophyllum. These leaf of bryophyllum become matured for the parental plant. At that time this maturity become completes and the parental plant containing leaves become detached, become separated, and they become spread in above surface of soil during favorable season. During suitable environmental condition, they will develop and it will forms young one like their parent naturally. So it is included in natural method of vegetative propagation. There are the 4 methods of natural method of vegetative propagation, like tuberous root, stem, tuber, runners as well as leaf. Another method of vegetative propagation that is called as by artificial method. Artificial method means the plant parts, that is root, stem and leaves, they will propagate and it will develop young one like their parents by involving man-made activities. Here man-made activities are obligatory. Man-made activities is compulsory. Without man-made activity, the plant parts, root, stem and leaves do not develops young one like their parents during this condition. Here man-made activities are involved to develop the young one like their parents by vegetative organs like root, stem and leaves, that is called as artificial method of vegetative propagation. Different horticulturists, gardeners, practitioners get used for this artificial method of vegetative propagation to develop the young one like their parent by economically important plants. This artificial method consists of 3 steps. First one is cutting method. Second one is budding method. And third one is grafting method. Cutting method means use of separated cut portion, either stem, leaves or root, to develop the young one like their parent, that is called as cutting method. During this method, matured plant body containing matured stem should be selected. Then these stem should be separated into the plant body by using different types of equipments. By involving man-made activities, and separated cut portion should be inserted inside the soil during favorable season, or the environmental factors become provided like water. Due to irrigation, water become provided. The inserted plant part, that is stem, they will develop young one like their parent, that is called as cutting method of vegetative propagation. So it is called as artificial method. Example, rose, sugar cane, all of these plants get develops young one like their parents by using these cutting techniques. Budding means use of separated bud portion intact with cambium. These bud portion should be directly inside into the soil to develop new plantlet, or the bud should be inserted from the rooted part of plant body to develop the desirable characteristic of an individual, that is called as budding method of vegetative propagation. And last one is grafting. Grafting means successful combination of rooted and shooted portion. Successful combination of rooted and shooted portion, that is stalk and cycon, to develop the desirable characteristic in new plantlets, that is called as grafting method of vegetative propagation. There are 3 methods of artificial method of vegetative propagation, that is called as cutting, budding as well as grafting. That is one of the modes of reproduction in plant, that is called as asexual or vegetative reproduction. Then second one is second mode of these reproduction in plants, that is called as sexual reproduction. Second mode, that is called as sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means development of gametes and their union to produce young ones. Both gametes, like male as well as female gametes, get developed. After development of gametophyte, they become fused, they become unite to develop the young one like their parents, that is called as sexual reproduction. This sexual reproduction can take place in plant body containing flower. So if you are seen in a typical structure of flower, already this flower gets studied in 11th class. But summarize, I will also told the typical structure of flower. The flower, it is a highly modified and condensed reproductive shoot meant for sexual reproduction, that is called as flower. Typical structure of flower consists of two parts. First one is floral axis, last one is floral holes. Floral axis includes two parts. First one is pedicel, second one is thalamus. Pedicel, it is a stalk of flower are known as pedicel. When pedicel are present in a flower are called as pedicellate flower, and pedicel are absent in a flower are commonly called as sessile flower. Second part, that is called as thalamus, tipmost enlarged portion of floral axis, that is called as thalamus. These two parts get included in floral axis. Second one is floral holes. There are two types of floral holes. First one is non-essential and second one is essential. Non-essential means those floral holes or those parts, they do not directly participate during sexual reproduction. That is called as non-essential floral holes. They are of two, like calyx as well as corolla. Calyx, it is the first and outermost hole of flower. Member of calyx are called as sepals. When sepals are free from each other, this condition are called as polysepalous condition, and flower is known as polysepalous flower. When sepals are fused from each other, this condition are called as gamosepalous condition, and flower is known as gamosepalous flower. Calyx, it is a first and outermost hole. That's why they will protect the inner holes of flower. That is the function for calyx. Second hole are commonly called as corolla. Member of corolla are commonly called as petals. When petals are also free from each other, this condition are called as polypetalous condition, and the flower is known as polypetalous flower. When petals are fused or unite to each other, this condition are commonly called as gamopetalous condition, and flower is known as gamopetalous flower. Corolla, they are attractive, they are colorful. That's why it will attract the insect for cross pollination. That is the function for corolla. Both floral holes like calyx as well as corolla are commonly called as non-essential because they do not directly participate during sexual reproduction, but they will help for the completion of sexual reproduction phenomenon. Okay, so it is called as non-essential. Second one is essential floral holes. Means those floral holes, they are directly involved, directly participate during sexual reproduction. That is called as essential floral holes, or it is also called as reproductive floral holes. They are of two, like androecium as well as gynoecium. Androecium and gynoecium, that is the essential floral holes. First one is androecium. Member of androecium are commonly called as stamen. It is the third hole of flower. Member of androecium are commonly called as stamen. These androecium are commonly called as male reproductive organ. Why it is called as male reproductive organ? Because they will produces the pollen grain. So it is called as male reproductive organ because pollen grain, it is a immature male gametophyte. So they are commonly called as male reproductive organ. These androecium, member of androecium are called as stamen. These stamen consist of three parts. First one is filament. second part connective, and third part anther lobe. That is the typical structure of stamen. That is filament. That is connective. And that is anther lobe. Androecium or stamen consists of these three parts. First one is filament, second one is connective, and last one is anther lobe. Filament, a stalk of stamen or stalk of androecium are commonly called as filament. Parenchymatous connective tissue will connect by anther lobe and filament, that is called as connective. And upper sac-like or bag-like part of stamen are commonly called as anther lobe. These anther lobe contain diploid pollen mother cells or diploid microspore mother cells. These diploid microspore mother cells undergoes meiotic division to form haploid microspore. This phenomenon are commonly called as microsporogenesis. During the maturity condition of anther lobe, they will produces by the pollen grain. So it is called as male reproductive organ. Okay. That is the androecium. Then another essential plural holes, that is called as gynoecium. Member of gynoecium are commonly called as carpel. It is a fourth and innermost hole of flower. Member of this gynoecium, that is called as carpel. Also, these carpel consist of three parts. First one is stigma. Second part are called as style. And third part are commonly called as ovary. If you are seeing in a typical structure of gynoecium or carpel, these are the typical structure of carpel. This carpel consists of three parts. Which of these? First one is stigma, second one is style, and third one is ovary. Stigma, upper knob-like part of carpel, that is called as stigma. Middle tubular part of carpel are called as style, and basal, swollen, fertile part of carpel are called as ovary. About these three parts, the ovary, they contain number of ovules. These ovules containing nucellus, that is main mass of ovule, they will produces by diploid megaspore mother cells. These diploid megaspore mother cells undergoes meiotic division to form haploid megaspore. This haploid megaspore, it is a female gametophyte. So the gynoecium or carpel are commonly called as or commonly known as it is a female gametophyte. Why? Because these ovary containing ovules Typical structure of ovule containing diploid megaspore mother cells, they will produces by haploid megaspore during megasporogenesis. During this phenomenon or during this megasporogenesis, haploid megaspore will form. This haploid megaspore, it is a immature female gametophyte, and then they will form the female gamete, that is egg. So it is called as female reproductive organ or female reproductive hole. That is the typical structure of flower. About this flower containing androecium and gynoecium, both parts are commonly called as essential floral holes because they are directly participate during sexual reproduction. Okay, that is the typical structure of flower containing androecium as well as gynoecium. Both parts are necessary for the completion of sexual reproduction phenomenon, like non-essential as well as essential. In this sexual reproduction, the another article that is called as structure of stamen. Structure of stamen. Already I will discuss the typical structure of stamen, that is upper sac-like part, that is called as anther lobe, middle connective part are called as connective, and basal stalk-like part are commonly called as filament. This structure is already discussed, that is upper sac-like part, anther lobe, middle connective part, that is connective, and basal stalk-like part, that is filament. That is the typical structure of stamen. Okay. After maturity of these anther, if this anther or stamen get taken the tears or tears of stamen, tears of anther can take place. These tears of mature anther, that is the typical structure of stamen. Then I will discuss the tears of mature anther. Tears of mature anther. If tears should be taken, that is transverse section should be given, they shows the typical structural analysis, or they shows a typical structure, that is tears of mature anther consists of two main parts. First one is all of anther and second one is pollen sacs. Okay. And they shows a typical diagrammatic representation as like that is typical structure of tears of mature anther. It consists of two main parts. First one is all of anther, second one is pollen sac. All of anther also consists of three parts, three main parts. First one is epidermis, second one is endothecium, third one is middle layer, and last one is tapetum. Okay. About these four parts, that is epidermis, they are present at the around surface of all of anther, or outermost covering of all of anther, that is commonly called as epidermis. Outermost protective covering of all of anther, it is made up of single layered cells, that is called as epidermis. Epi means above, outermost, covering of these all of anther, that is called as epidermis. Then second one is endothecium. It is present inner side of these epidermis, they are multi-layered. These multi-layered part are called as endothecium. Okay. Then middle layer, this middle layer, that is many layered structure should be situated at around the tapetum layer, that is called as middle layer. It is a third layer of all of anther, that is middle layer. First one is epidermis, second one is endothecium, third one is middle layer. And last one is tapetum. Tapetum means starchy, nutritive tissue layer which are present around the pollen sacs, that is called as tapetum. It is a starchy nutritive tissue layer, that is called as tapetum. Okay, that is the all of anther. Then pollen sacs. Inside this tapetum, the rounded bodies are situated, that is called as pollen sac. These pollen sac contain pollen tetrads. Pollen sacs contain pollen tetrads. These pollen tetrads contain diploid PMC or MMC, which are diploid. PMC means P stands for pollen, M mother, C cell. MMC means microspore mother cells. These pollen mother cells or microspore mother cells, they are present inside these pollen tetrads. Okay, at the time of maturity condition or after maturity, they will breaks and it will broken by the tapetum layer, middle layer, endothecium as well as epidermis, and they will liberate outside these tiers of mature anther containing all of anther. That is the typical structure of mature anther or tiers of mature anther. Then I will tell the development of male gametophyte. Development of male gametophyte. Development of male gametophyte. Male gametophyte development get completes within two steps. First one is before pollination, and second one is after pollination. After microsporogenesis, that is diploid pollen mother cells which are situated inside the pollen sac, these diploid pollen mother cells undergoes meiotic division to form haploid pollen grains. These haploid pollen grain, it is a immature male gametophyte. This development of male gametophyte gets started by these immature pollen grain. These pollen grain, typical structure of pollen grain consists of few parts like outer exine. These exine contain at some distance sutures like or the pores like structure, that is called as germ pores. Inside these exine, the intine or second layer are situated, that is called as entine. inside the entire cytoplasm as well as nucleus are situated. That is the typical structure of pollen grain. Okay, these pollen grain, it is a mature male gametophyte. This mature male gametophyte develops the male gametophyte in before as well as after pollination process. Okay, during before pollination, these haploid pollen grain, that is the haploid pollen grain. Haploid means number of nucleus becomes single, that is haploid pollen grain. These layer are called as exine, outermost layer, that is intine, inner side of intine, cytoplasm, as well as that is nucleus. During before pollination, these haploid pollen grain divides during the process that is called as mitosis to form two unequal cells. Larger cell are called as tube cell, that is tube cell, that is tube cell nucleus, that is cytoplasm. Okay, it is a generative cell, that is generative cell nucleus. Okay, that is the two cell pollen grain. It is a two cell pollen grain. That is two cell pollen grain. During before pollination, haploid pollen grain divides during the process that is mitosis to form two unequal cell, that is larger cell are called as tube cell, then smaller cell are called as generative cell. This part get completes in before pollination. Then after pollination process, these two cell pollen grain become transfer and deposit over the respective stigma during the process that is called as pollination. Okay. After pollination process, stigma secretes sugary substance as well as amino acids. These secreted substance absorbed by pollen grain. That's why pollen turgidity get maintained. Intine grows and it comes out to a tubular outgrowth via germ pore, that is called as pollen tube. Tubular outgrowth will arises by the germ pore after absorption of sugary substance as well as amino acid. The sugary substance as well as amino acid get secreted by stigma at the time of maturity condition. If pollen grain become deposit over the respective stigma during the process that is pollination, stigma secreted substance get absorbed by two cell pollen grain. That's why pollen turgidity get maintained. Intine grows and it comes out to a tubular outgrowth that is called as pollen tube. It is known as pollen tube. Okay. That is called as pollen tube. Then tube cell nucleus migrate towards the pollen tube. Tube cell containing cytoplasm as well as tube cell nucleus migrate towards the pollen tube. Then generative cell nucleus towards the pollen tube. Then these generative cell nucleus also migrate towards the pollen tube. Cytoplasm, that is generative cell nucleus, that is tube cell nucleus. After initiation of pollen tube, that is pollen germination can taken, the tube cell nucleus migrate towards the pollen tube, generative cell nucleus migrate towards the pollen tube, and finally the generative cell nucleus divides Finally, generative cell nucleus divides during the process that is mitosis to form two haploid non-motile male gametes. The structure having pollen tube, two non-motile male gametes, that is male gametes, that is tube cell nucleus, that is cytoplasm, it is pollen tube. The structure having tube cell nucleus, pollen tube, two non-motile male gametes and cytoplasm are commonly called as fully developed male gametophyte in angiosperm. This type of development get completes within two steps. First one is before pollination and second one is after pollination. Before pollination, haploid pollen grain divides by mitosis to form two unequal cells. Larger cell are called as tube cells, smaller cell are called as generative cell. Then two cell pollen grain become transfer and deposit over the respective stigma during the process that is pollination. Stigma secretes sugary substance at the time of maturity. Secreted substance absorbed by pollen grain, that's why pollen turgidity get maintained, intine grows and it comes out to a tubular outgrowth that is called as pollen tube, and the process is known as pollen germination. Okay. Then tube cell nucleus migrate towards the pollen tube, generative cell nucleus migrates towards the pollen tube, and finally generative cell nucleus divides by mitosis to form two haploid non-motile male gametes. The structure having pollen tube, two non-motile male gametes, cytoplasm as well as tube cell nucleus, that is called as fully developed male gametophyte in angiosperm. Okay, then I will tell the structure of female gametophyte, that is the structure of ovule. Egg containing body are situated, egg containing body, structure of ovule. Ovule means egg containing body are situated inside the ovary. Ovary, it is a part of carpel or gynoecium. These carpel or gynoecium containing basal, solan, fertile part are commonly called as ovary. Inside the ovary, number of egg containing bodies are situated, that is commonly called as ovule. Ovule are of so many types like orthotropous ovule, anatropous ovule. Orthotropous means the funicle, chalaza and micropyle are present in a straight line, that is called as orthotropous ovule, or it is also called as straight ovule. Okay. Anatropous means micropyle is directly towards the lower side and nearer to the funicle. Micropyle is directly towards the lower side and nearer to the funicle, that is called as anatropous ovule. Micropyle get bent directly towards the lower side and nearer to the funicle, that is called as anatropous ovule. If you are seen in a typical structure of ovule, that is anatropous as well as orthotropous, there are two types of ovule. About these two types of ovules, I will discuss the structure of anatropous ovule. Anatropous means inverted ovule. If you are shown in a diagrammatic representation, that is It is a very simple phenomenon, that is typical structure of anatropous ovule. It is a very simple. These anatropous ovule or typical structure of ovule consists of two main parts. First one is funicle and second one is body of ovule. Funicle, that is stalk of ovule, are commonly called as funicle. Stalk-like part of ovule are known as funicle. Stalk-like part of ovule, it is commonly called as funicle. When funicle are present in a ovule, are commonly called as funiculate ovule, and it is absent in a ovule are called as sessile ovule. Okay. Then where body of ovule and funicle get attached, that is called as hilum. Body of ovule consists of few parts, that is integuments. Integuments, nucellus, and embryo sac. Funicle means stalk of ovule are known as funicle, where funicle and body get attached at a specific point, that is called as hilum. Integuments means outermost protective covering of ovule, that is called as integuments. It may be either single, that is called as unidgamic. It may be either double, that is called as biidgamic, and it may be absent in a ovule, that is called as adgamic ovule. Okay. Outermost protective covering of ovule are commonly called as integuments. Then second layer, that is called as nucellus, it is the main mass of ovule, are commonly called as nucellus. These nucellus, they contain diploid megaspore mother cells. Diploid megaspore mother cells will produces by these nucellus. Embryo sac, a sac-like or bag-like structure should be situated at the center of ovule, that is called as embryo sac. It is a 7 cell and 8 nucleated. It is a 7 cell and 8 nucleated. Embryo sac consists of two types of cells. Embryo sac consists of three parts. First one is egg apparatus. These egg apparatus consist of two types of cells. Middle larger cell are called as egg, and lateral two cells are called as synergid cells. That is called as egg apparatus. That is the first part of embryo sac. This egg apparatus consists of two types of cells. Middle larger cell are called as egg, and lateral two cells are called as synergid cells. At the center of embryo sac, diploid polar bodies are situated, that is called as secondary nucleus. It is diploid, and three cells remain present behind the chelacal end of embryo sac, that is called as antipodal cells. These 7 cell and 8 nucleated structure should be situated at the center of ovule, that is called as embryo sac. Embryo sac consists of three parts. First one is egg apparatus. second one is secondary nucleus, and third one is antipodal cells. Egg apparatus consists of two types of cells. These egg apparatus, they are placed behind the micropylar end of embryo sac. It consists of two types of cells. Middle larger cell are called as egg cell, and lateral two cells are called as synergid cells. At the center of embryo sac, it consists of diploid polar bodies. These diploid polar bodies get fused to form secondary nucleus, which is diploid, and three cells remain situated behind the three cells remain present behind the chalazal end of embryo sac, that is called as antipodal cells. These antipodal cells are haploid as well as similar, that is the typical structure of ovule, that is called as funicle, as well as body of ovule will form by a typical structure. About this typical structure, a sutures like opening or a gap are situated at the tip portion of integuments, that is called as micropyle. Okay, that is the typical structure of ovule. Then I will told the development of female gametophyte. Development of female gametophyte, that is development of embryo sac. Okay, these female gametophyte get develops by diploid megaspore mother cells. These diploid megaspore mother cells, that is the diploid megaspore mother cell. Diploid megaspore mother cells undergoes meiosis or meiotic cell division can taken to form four tetrads. These tetrads are arranged at a row manner. These tetrads are arranged at a row manner. Upper three become disorganized, and lowermost become functional. Diploid megaspore mother cells undergoes meiotic division to form haploid megaspore containing tetrads.